Welcome to this video about working towards an EBSA formulation, part 2 of 3. Writing up the formulation. Remember, formulations are essentially a number of hypotheses regarding the EBSA. It can be helpful to think of this as an opportunity to stand in the pupil's shoes, seeing the issues affecting them from their perspective. Features of a written formulation usually include a description of the current EBSA behaviours, a summary of the pupil's strengths and current barriers and problems, and consideration about how factors and issues might relate to or intersect with each other. Example of a simple formulation sheet. Description of the current EBSA behaviours. Include responses to the following types of topics and questions. What is the current rate of attendance? Are there any patterns to the non-attendance, for example on specific days, times, or lessons? History of the EBSA behaviours. When did people start to become concerned, and have there been similar difficulties at other times earlier in the pupil's life? And indicators and descriptions of anxiety. What are the signs? What does it look like for the pupil? What are the pupil's specific fears and difficulties? Protective factors and risk factors. Include responses to the following types of topics and questions. What strengths does the pupil present with? What difficulties or differences or life experiences might present as risk factors? What are the pupil's interests? What positive relationships do they have at home and at school with peers and staff? Are there difficult relationships also? What works well outside school to improve the pupil's well-being? What are the risk factors associated with school? What are the risk factors associated with the family, home, and the community? Integration of various factors and functions of the EBSA behaviours. This equals the formulation. Include responses to the following types of topics and questions. What are the views of the pupil, their parent carer, and staff about why the pupil is at risk of EBSA? Are there differences in these views, or common themes, etc.? What is the function of EBSA behaviours? Does the pupil want to avoid things at school that make them feel anxious? Does the pupil want to avoid difficult social situations, or avoid being evaluated and judged by adults or peers? Does the pupil want to gain attention from parents and caregivers and/or other family members? Does the pupil want to gain tangible rewards that they can access outside of school? And are there any factors that are maintaining the anxiety and these behaviours? Using a solution-focused approach. Once a formulation has been established, it's necessary to work with the pupil to explore strategies and supports using a solution-focused approach. Remember, the pupil is the expert in them. With this approach, the pupil is encouraged to think about the future and to focus on possible solutions informed by what they already know works for them, rather than current problems. What are the pupil's wishes and goals? Once this has been identified, allow space for the pupil to think about what could help them to achieve these, even if some of them might not be realistic or practical. The miracle question. One way of approaching this initially is to ask the miracle question. This can be adapted according to the pupil's preferred communication style and abilities, but it might start with some of this type of dialogue. Imagine that you wake up tomorrow and you instantly feel terrific about coming to school and being in school all day. How do you feel? What do you think is different? What will you be doing that is different? What about other people? An example of a miracle question and scale. Solution-focused activity examples. Another solution-focused activity example. This is the end of this video. Part 3 on this topic is now available to watch. You can view more videos in the EBSA Essentials series.